Hello and welcome to another episode of Ball of Passion. A lot of news to get through today. A lot of things have happened in the world of football. It's probably been one of the most historic weeks in the world of football. We've got a lot of things to get through, so let's just get into it. So with the usual guys, CK, George, and Z. So I think the only place to start is with the historic news of Lionel Messi leaving and looking like he's going to PSG. So whoever wants to go, give us your thoughts and what's going on with it.
Yeah, um, it's it's weird because it hasn't really properly hit me yet because a similar situation happened last year, so I was like really like prepared for Messi to leave, but for him to officially leave was crazy because Barca fans and football fans in general, but like Barca fans, have been crying all week, and it's actually beautiful to see. Um, Barca, if you don't know, like I really don't like Barcelona, and Barca have really done this to themselves because signing £300 million players was never gonna like benefit your financial situation. So Messi leaving is probably the end of La Liga as the second to the Premier League because the Liga was massive with Messi, Ronaldo, but now that that's gone, I'm not sure what their main attraction is. Can you guys tell me who their main star is anymore? I'm not
I mean,
sure whether.
you saw it on that show that if anyone's been watching that El Chico or whatever it's called, the one with the crazy Spanish guys, they're going on
They said the
about
pie.
Depay. Next season we watch Depay. So apparently it's Depay.
Yeah, but yeah, like that was crazy to see Messi actually leave, and now he looks like he's going to PSG,
Yeah.
um, the biggest money in Europe.
Bro, I don't know how people are feeling. Like, this hit me a lot harder than I even thought it would. And I don't know if it's just because maybe I'm old enough that I saw his debut like fully when I understood football and I've tracked his career. And it's just been, I don't know, I'm really having a hard time with seeing him in another shirt. I really am.
We
And
haven't yet. We haven't yet.
I mean, technically we haven't, but honestly, guys, like it's done, right? Like I think there's an air of difference in this, poker game. There always is poker games in these things, but when a club announces, "Listen, they're gone," they make a tribute video. For me, that's crossed the line. You can't really come back at that point. And then when you start to think about it, right? Like, what does this mean for the world of football, by the way? Because PSG getting him on a free, that's going to smash the wage structure regardless. He was already on crazy wages at, Barcelona. But when you think about what he's going to be on at PSG, what precedent does that set for the max that you can give a
Apparently,
player,
it's going
right?
to be like £1 million a week.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, what precedent does that set for a 31-year-old legend of the game, right? But if you're going
34.
34-year-old, sorry, but yeah, you're going to give him what, 2 years contract minimum at those wages? Like, what precedent does that set from? Because it's not just like, you guys have to understand, like, when you get that wage, despite being a legend, not everyone's going to demand that. But then even your Ben Whites, even your players of a lower caliber in the football pyramid are going to start to demand 100,000 a week wages. And unless you're a club that can control that, you're going to be priced out of moves. It raises the market. And I think I call it like kind of like trickle down money in a sense. And so this is what we're probably going to be the theme of this podcast, at least for me. But these huge transfers that we're seeing being pushed through this summer, it allows smaller clubs to receive that money through trickle down stuff because you buy them from smaller clubs who now have an inordinate amount of cash that then use that on other small clubs, and it just gets an indirect effect on the market. And I just think from a week ago, when there was a market where barely any people were sold, barely anybody had done much more business. In fact, I think a week ago, and even before I left, there was an article that I was reading where Arsenal, along with Manchester United, were the biggest net spenders in the window to that point. 76 point something million pounds versus 75 point something million pounds. And I think they included the length of the deals and everything in some of those. But still, that was the market. And then a week goes by, Messi's gone, Grealish is confirmed. Lukaku has just been confirmed today. Like, I don't know if people understand the impact of this. And then you have the whole Messi impact on football. It's been a lot for me to process. I don't think we see somebody of his caliber, by the way, play again. I really don't. There's a level of football talent. There might be a level of achievement that gets matched, perhaps, but physical talent with the football, I don't know if we get somebody like that. I haven't seen anybody in prospects even come close to the level of manipulation
Yeah,
that
but
that kid had at freaking 18 years of age, 19 years of age. Like, I don't think people understand. I think we tend to kind of let recency bias dictate our opinions kind of on here, where we don't realize what some of the past people did. So, like, even take Cesc, for example, who was nowhere near Messi levels, but what Cesc did to get into the Invincibles was absolutely crazy. I don't know if people understand what Messi did to get into that Barca team, and they weren't exactly struggling. And so for me, it's just been insane. Like, when you think about his best season, 91 goals. How how does that make sense? Like, in what planet are you living on that you get 91 goals? Like, do you guys comprehend that? That's a season for, like, the record books.
That's a
Like, does that
team.
get beat?
That's a
Does,
team.
does
That's a
anybody
team's
honestly
goals.
think there's a footballer
Mm.
alive that does that again? I
probably
don't know,
No.
guys. Maybe I'm doing
I
too
think the
much
closest
hyperbole, but
that's
for
in the
me,
game right
Messi was
now.
huge.
The closest that comes to that in the game right now will probably maybe be Haaland at a super team.
I don't think
And
he's that efficient.
I don't
I
think
don't
he
think he's
comes.
that efficient. Like,
What I mean is because in the past year, he scored 40,
mhm,
21. So I think if
double that,
Haaland
my
goes
guy.
to a super team,
Double that, and he still doesn't get it.
yeah, but I think he comes closest of
Mhm.
those in the game.
But that's when you think about it, right? Like, the best seasons in remote history are 40 guys. 40 is the level of the
Apart from him and
best.
Ronaldo,
Even
Ronaldo went
Ronaldo, who I
70
love, by the
something.
way, is 70. He had another world-class season on top of him. Like, are people understanding the levels here? I don't know. Maybe I'm going too much, but it's mad to me. It's mad. I don't think we see another player like that again. I really don't. And yeah, to see him at PSG, like I said, I think the last thing I do want to say also, people, they're thinking about the wage structure, but I don't think people understand the business impact on Barcelona. So it's not just wages. Sponsorships are going to pull out now.
Commercial,
Aguero's already looking to leave. Like, it, the impact, and also La Liga as a product. What does that become now? They no
Benzema.
longer. I don't believe that young talents are like, oh, I want to go Real Madrid, Barcelona now. There's a
That's a bit
project.
far. I think they do. Real Madrid is still Real Madrid as a name. Like
No,
they
but
have
Curran,
that
mate, they don't
name.
have a project that is as strong as what it's been. And when you look at La Liga as a product, the biggest thing that these guys had was they
Yeah.
had global superstars, because the spectrum of the league is not it, and the
It's dog
money
shit.
is not there.
No.
But then you look, okay, so then why are you going? Prestige and project, essentially, not just historical of clubs, because there's tons of historical clubs. I mean, you got your Real Madrid, who's won probably the most, Champions League. So you've got a level of prestige there that you're like, I want to be associated with that. But then when you remove those global superstars, and then they don't have the money, and you're in a worse project too, by the way, like their teams respectively, I don't know if they come back to that level until 4 or 5 years. They're going both through a rebuild that they themselves need to do. And I don't know, without the Super League, if they're able to speed that up in a short term. And so that's my issue with it. And it's not that they're dead now. This is not what I'm saying. But the idea that those two now become the pull, I don't know if that's there anymore. And I think Messi was the last leg that put them onto a level of reality, to be honest with you. And I don't think Messi was even the guy in the last couple seasons. He still's been insane, by the way, but he hasn't been the 90 goal Messi, the 70 goal Messi, even the 50 goal Messi in that level. But yeah, just for me,
No, but
I
18,
have
19 was the last time he was really Messi because that season he went crazy. But
mm,
now he's going to go to get more than double Neymar's wages. at PSG.
Exactly, but mate, like that's what I'm saying. So that I think the knock-on effects of this Messi transfer are huge. There's wages, again, sponsorships. I don't think we've seen that, by the way. Like Nike, they're gonna probably pull out, or they'll probably say, I am going to not pay exactly my payment structure because without Messi, I signed on with the purpose of Messi. Like this stuff matters in business. So I really think they're in trouble, and I think La Liga goes down in viewership by millions, by the way, not just infinitely, by millions. And so the product becomes less profitable. So yeah, there's going to be, I don't know. I don't know. Z, what do you think? Is it too far? I just think it's a huge transfer, more than I've seen other people talk about, to be honest. But
Yeah, no. I mean, firstly, George, I mean, I enjoyed that tribute for Messi, honestly. I mean, I don't think I would have appreciated Messi enough if I didn't really listen to you right now. But if we think of it in the most normal way possible, has probably been the worst news possible for La Liga. I think not only did the pandemic hit La Liga hard, the two of the biggest giants, Real Madrid and Barcelona, have evidently fallen off, and that's also come to the conclusion where Atletico Madrid have they won the last league as well. So it's showing that those two giants are no longer the giants at the top. So it's having a massive knock-on effect. And when they've lost someone like Ronaldo, they had only Messi to hold them by, and now I think that now that these two are gone, I don't. The eyes that will be on La Liga, which I don't think were a lot anyways, they're going to be reduced by a massive number. And then what's next for um the La Liga? I have no idea. I have no clue, to be honest. But fair play to Messi. I mean, he's had an amazing career, and I don't like George said. I don't think we ever see a player like him at all, because you know what, he was a unique specimen. The numbers that he produced, and and the magnitude of his performance day in and day out in each game. Goodness me, I mean, I watched him live in the Emirates when we won 2-1, and my lord, like that was a player and a half. But yeah, good, fair play to him. I hope he, rips up the French league. But
It
that's
won't
the
be hard.
Farmers League. We all. It won't be hard at all. No, but fair play to him. Fair play to him for the move. I think he moves to the States after a couple of years, though. I think that's his career. That's him moving to France and saying, "Look, I think that's me done in my career for sure."
yeah, the one quote maybe I want to just bring up to tie around my thoughts was Henri talking about Messi. And, we can quote all the stats that you want. You can quote how he makes you feel. But when you look at a world superstar like Henri, who's arguably among the talks for the greatest striker to have ever played the game, and when you hear him talk about Messi in training, like he goes, what player do you know? Because we've all got that guy in the park that runs rings around, one person, right? But he goes, look, what person do you know that in training goes, give me the ball to your keeper, and he'll run through your whole team of your Etos, your PKs, your Busquets, Xavi, Iniestas in their prime, by the way, and score the goal just because he got pissed off that you gave him a bad challenge. Like what? like these aren't like school kids. Like they're the best of the best.
elite of the elite.
Barcelona guys in their prime. Like, yeah, man. I don't know. It's just for me when I hear tributes like that, right? And like Henri's not the only one. Like you could and you could think, is it biased to one thing? And I don't know. I value Henri's opinion a lot more than most because for me, he's reached that weird upper echelon that maybe a very few 2% of people ever even hit himself, And when he's gushing about a player like that, for me, it takes it to like just another level, in addition to the stats, in addition to what you may feel about it. So, yeah, mate, I don't know. It's a huge thing for me. Again, I don't think we get anybody remotely close.
On
But-
that, yeah, because
Never.
in the 80s, they said the same thing about Maradona. We won't get anybody like him. And then you got Messi. So I think with the saying that we won't ever get anything like, I think we will. Maybe not the same, but I think we'll get someone on that level. Maybe it could be in 50 years, 40 years, but there will come a time when someone's spoken about the same way Messi, Maradona, Cruyff, all these guys are, because there always
True.
comes one.
Records are there to be broken, right? But you know
Yeah.
what? I still
Yeah.
maintain, even the type of player, I don't think we see that level of ball manipulation. For example, like
No.
look
You
at
probably
the
don't.
time, like when you're looking about Ronaldo and you're looking at footage and you're looking back at your Maradonas and your Peles and stuff, the way that the game has evolved, I would say the difference back from like a Pele to a Maradona era, the difference in the game wasn't as big as from a Maradona to a modern day jump. Like the level of investment, the level of production in the game has been huge. And I don't know in 50 years if we really make a jump beyond what's been made right now. Like things are controlled to the finest details right now, whereas before, players would go on the piss, like and play the game like right after. Like the level of professionalism that's come into the game and the level of I don't know money that's in it right now. I just don't know if you can advance the league much more. So
Yeah.
in 50 years, while tactics will change or whatnot, I don't think we'll see an evolution in the game as much. To be honest with you,
I think
I think we'll
with that is
change.
like, because Messi came in 2003, 4 is when he was coming in like a little boy and that, and the facilities available to him in the early thousands is completely different to the facility youths are having now, and it's only gonna improve because there's more money, more eyes, so it's only going to improve. So I think there will be someone, because there's always been someone in the game that's talked about among the greats, but I'm not sure if he's on the set. It will be on the magnitude of Messi, because Messi had his Ronaldo, Maradona had his Pele. They always have their person, and I'm not sure if we get two of them that go to the level that Messi has gone to. He probably is the greatest of all time, and those that were young when Maradona was playing hate it when you say Messi's better and all this stuff. So that debate will never end, because there'll always be someone new in it.
Mhm.
So I think with Messi is like, yeah, we're in the moment where we're seeing him go 91 goals, 70 goals, 5 goals in a game,
You know what's
six
crazy though,
man.
Chris? I would argue that was in modern football. Like that wasn't like early 2000s necessarily. Like when he achieved those numbers, it was a couple seasons after. Like that was when the facilities had been made. That was when I think the game had changed to
Yeah, 2012
a lot
was different. Yeah,
like there was more emphasis on, you know, tactical awareness from lower teams and leagues. That's the thing for me. I felt like when you watch older footage, I think the game wasn't easier. I wouldn't say that, but the variability in the best in leagues was much greater. You saw a very similar spread to like a Ligue 1 in value
that's why all the
per
records
se.
for the teams, like most goals in a game, are back from the 70s, 80s, 90s, because the level was much lower from the top teams to the
But
smaller teams.
exactly. And so I don't think, and so when he achieved that, you have to understand the baseline for lower teams were like neck and neck in terms of quality here. Like there isn't much of a drop off in it. And yeah, he did that in the. I don't know. I'll have to disagree, Chris. Man, I don't think we get another player.
I don't think
Not
so
just like
either.
playing
That comes
style, but like
close.
achievement. I don't think we get another player like him.
That doesn't come
No.
close at all.
Football's
I
changed
think we
too
get.
much, man. It's changed way too much to have players like him.
Yeah.
Even if we look at even when we look at even when Brazil played today, the levels have dropped in the Brazil's national team. Before, back in the day, when we used to watch Brazil, right, they used to be the juggernauts of football. Now I look at them, they just look like every other specimen in other countries, and it's because it's basically evened out. I don't think there's a lot of players that start from young, playing the favelas as we call it. They have very well put facilities, and I think that's everywhere now. So what's happened is there's less players on raw ability. There's more. They're just becoming trained. They're becoming more. I think I'd likened it to be a bit robotic. I think they're just listening to their coaches, and I think that's what's happening to football. And so I don't think we'll ever see a player like that has the most unique ability and to the magnitude of Messi or
I'm not saying
Ronaldo's
that the
level. I just
type
don't
of
see
Messi.
it happening.
I'm just saying like the quality. Like not. I know his quality was different. What I mean is, I don't think someone's echoing. I
Oh,
think, and
Z.
what I mean is like not like Maradona or Messi because them two are similar in their play style. But I mean like to get to the top and get maybe 70 goals in a year or something. I think we'll see someone who does that. That's what I think.
70, I'll agree with you. Not 91. Yeah, like I said, I think for me, I think I'll just have to disagree. I don't think even achievement anyone comes close, and I think a team may dominate, but as an individual, like as an individual season, I don't see that 91 goals a season being broken, and not even close, by the way, because I think teams are just too good where that doesn't happen anymore. And the level of, and he did it when teams were just insane. So yeah, maybe play style. I hear where you're coming from. Maybe there might be somebody that'll be different, But for me, achievement wise too, mate, I don't know. Messi for me though, he is one of those where I lose objectivity. I have a couple of those, right? Like Arsene Wenger,
Um,
and with Messi, it's tough for me, man. But I really don't see that level of achievement. I'm happy to have that clipped. I don't think we see this again. I really
it's
don't.
hard to see anyways because there's only there's a handful of players that were even on that level. So it's not
Is
going to
anybody
be
even close though, Chris? Like in the time in his career, right? Neymar was touted. Like there's many people that have come for the king.
Yeah.
And no one has come close. And like even now, is there a young talent that you're like, oh, like a sliver of hope? And so I'm like, man, damn, like that means even in the next 15 years now, because like I don't know about you guys, like I love youth football. So like even I'm looking at youth and like the youth that comes like not even close. It's so disrespectful. It's Ray and Cherky from Leon. And he's nowhere near the same level, man. Like, so for me, I look, Chris, you're right in a sense. Records are there to be broken in any sport, Olympics, whatever. So like, I don't think it's a ridiculous statement for you to make. It's just for me, I'll stick to my guns. I don't think we get another player like that. I'll be dead if we do. So then I can live my opinion.
I think we do, but it will take generations because
Yeah.
Maradona made his
Let's
debut in
let's
1970. It took 35 years. So someone will
yeah.
come.
Let's before we do move on, it's just quick. I'm just going to quickly mention that look, modern Barcelona is a disgrace. Let's be real. They're a disgrace of a football club. I don't care. I just don't. The amount they've played out for, they've wasted that Neymar money. They've bought ridiculous players for ridiculous prices. They've gone against everything that their club has stood for in the past. They've gone against everything that the historic Barcelona has gone through to make it a La Masia, to go through the likes of George Smile, Johan Cruyff, and the likes, and the way that they made their football, the progressive tiki-taka style that they developed, the diamond that was innovated by Johan Cruyff, the way they actually played the game of football was unique. And they've thrown it away because they've seen commercial money, and they've seen the way they can try. They want to be the big boys in Europe, and forgotten their ideals. So if I'm Barcelona right now, I'm just going, look, I've got Pedri, who is one of the stars of the future. I've got some of young talent like Ansu Fati as well. I've got players around that I can build through. Stop buying stupid players for stupid money. Stop it. Stop doing it now. This should be a massive wake-up call. You've sacrificed the best player in your club's history for the likes of like Coutinho and like even Depay now. Like they can't even register Depay. Like it's ridiculous. Like the club has been run like a joke, and Bartomeu has blood on his hands. Like he has literal blood on his hands. And if I'm a Barcelona fan right now, which I'm not, because let's be real, Barcelona have done us dirty so badly over this past decade. Even going back to Vermaelen's song, the Van Persie disallowed goal, the Champions League final in 2006. They've done us dirty over the past 15 years or so. So I have no love for Barcelona, this modern Barcelona. But if I'm a Barcelona fan, I'm disgusted, because this is what kind of situation have you left us in here? You've done your shit and then you've left it, and now we have to pick up the pieces. So on that note, I'm not going to stick too long on that, but let's just move on to some other massive business that's happening right now in Romelu Lukaku. So apparently that's getting done to Chelsea pretty soon. 97 million is the touted fee. So let's talk about that. Who wants to talk about that? I mean, it's going to be a massive transfer, and I think it will go through it in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I think for Chelsea, I actually am more afraid for Lukaku than Haaland, because right now, in my opinion, Romelu Lukaku is the best number 9 on the planet right now, and I think Haaland has a much higher ceiling and all that. It would be the better business, even at 150 million, because in the cold light of day, 97.5 for Lukaku's 28. I'm horrible with ages, but I swear he's 28.
I think so.
He's 28.
And for somebody whose play style does not go well with age, by the way, I might add, from a business perspective, it's horrible. But Chelsea don't operate in that kind of model, so it really does not matter. And when you look at the player, I don't think there really is a debate, to be honest with you, about well, there is, because best number 9 on the planet is a big claim, but for me, he is. And for what Tuchel needs for his system, it's the perfect fit. Like literally the perfect fit. He's going to solve their inefficiencies. I think he's going to keep the 3 at the back. I wouldn't, but he is. And so when you're looking at that, what you need that Diego Costa type player, somebody that's going to give you that physical reference up top, which, by the way, they never had. So that was the one thing that they were lacking really in their team, a physical presence up top to just become a reference to spin off of, but also just an efficiency machine, right? Now, the one thing I'll caveat, I said all these positives. I do want to go into some of the negatives. I don't know if we're going to see the same level of domination that we've seen in the Serie A. So one of the biggest things that I think Lukaku has learned, by the way, everyone, we comment on his first touch, we comment on, his link play, all of which massively, drastically improved. But there was one aspect to his play, his out to in run. So his idea of going from the wide position and cutting in has massively improved at Inter. And that's the one thing that I think translates beautifully to the Premier League. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. But the pick and roll thing, I've said this kind of on Twitter. In the Premier League, the counter press is different, guys. Like the center back pressure from behind is much different. And yes, he's much stronger than anybody out there. And yes, he's got a great pick and roll, but he has always struggled from pressure behind. So that's the one aspect of his play that I don't know how it translates as well to the Premier League. He'll still be good at it, don't get me wrong. But the idea that domination that he did display in Serie A from that, I don't know if it's as great. But that out to in run that he's learned is absolutely insane. And I don't know if there's a much scarier proposition down the right corridor, which is what he loves to operate, than Lukaku running at full steam with 5 yards ahead of him. Like, it's scary. Let's have it right. And Chelsea are league challengers with Lukaku. Lukaku makes them league challengers, 100%. And so I still think they have inefficiencies in their team, but Lukaku is the difference here. He absolutely makes them league challengers, Champions League challengers, as if they weren't, they're champions of Europe already. But I think it turns them to that favorite category. I do think they had a favorable run last season. But I think this move turns you into favorites. And really, whatever you do at this point. So, yeah, for Chelsea, I think it's an excellent transfer for them. After all the positive I've said about Lukaku, I don't know if I do it in the same deal for Arsenal because I think our situation and ethos is very, very different. But I don't think Chelsea have to worry because in 2 years they can spend the same money and replace it with somebody much younger. So the calculus is much different. I'd say the same thing about Harry Kane, by the way. Like paying that much money for Harry Kane is stupid. Like there's no logic to spend that amount of money if you're ever fearful that you can't recoup that. If you're a club that worries about that kind of thing. But Chelsea, this doesn't apply. So I think for them, the business goes out, and really the only con again is how are we going to see him deal with that counter press again? Because that's been the one thing that I even levied at Havertz when I saw him in the Bundesliga. He was very difficult for him, and Havertz and Lukaku aren't the same, but just what they struggled with is going to be a similar level of difference in the league. So I think Lukaku will still be good at it, but I do think he won't expect that level of domination, and I don't think we'll see that. But I think we see a different Lukaku for sure. Anyone who's watched him, he's a different player. I'm sorry. This idea of his first touch being horrid, that's not the case. You're going to be surprised if you're expecting the same Lukaku. That's all I'll say.
Do you think he can still get the 35
No.
goal contributions in the league?
No, not in the league. That's my difference. In all comps, yes. And that's my point though. He'll be great. I hope people don't misinterpret what I'm saying. But the level of domination he did in Serie A, no, I don't think that translates with 35 league goals, for example. I think he gets 25. And by the way,
35 league goal contributions, so 24 goals, 11 assists last season.
Oh, goals and assists?
Yeah.
He could get 30. Yes. I think he could get 30. I got him for 25 league goals. I don't think he gets as many assists, but I got him for 25 league goals.
You seem to have liked Chelsea's business. Please let us know how you feel about this.
Who misses out on the squad then? Because I'm struggling to think where some of the players will fit. It's either Havertz or Mason Mount that misses out, and I personally still see Werner still playing. So
Werner has to play because he'll make the runs off of Lukaku. So it'll be Werner and Lukaku in a 3-4-1-2 probably. So Havertz and Mount will have to fight for the 10, and Ziyech fight for the 10.
To be fair, much of Tuchel's success has come from Werner, so he has to play. But I just don't know. I personally just don't know if they needed a striker. I feel like they could have just gone for a different profile striker, but to go for a striker that's they could have played Havertz. I mean Havertz is also someone that's very young and you could play in that similar position. Maybe not get as many goals, but at the same time, that's someone has to miss out, and whether it's going to be Mason Mount, Havertz.
I don't think there's a point in looking at logic.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Chelsea's transfer dealings, because this was to match.
It just doesn't make sense.
This was to match the Grealish £100 million, so they had to respond. And even though Lukaku's a great player, there were others maybe they could have went in for, because we've seen since the start of the window they wanted that £100+ million signing because they went in for Haaland and it was a no. So Lukaku is the next best bet in their eyes. So I don't think there's any point of breaking it down logically when it was just, I think, a financial pursuit.
No, but Chris, you know what? I agree 100% with Z. But you know what, Z, for me, like I thought the striker was an issue from an output standpoint, but Havertz has never made sense for me when they had Mount. That was the thing, and especially if you're going for a Haaland or a Lukaku type of striker, by the way, that suits a Mount much more than like a Havertz. Yes. As like an attacking midfielder. And so I'm with you though, like the confusion with like what Marina's do, like I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's why I said there's no point of trying to logically boil it down, because last year they had Mount, but they still bought Ziyech and Havertz. They're not thinking, she's not thinking about the team or asking about his team. She don't care because they transition managers so often. I think she's just thinking about the names and the talent. That's what I think she's thinking about.
He's not going to massively improve the Chelsea team because they've already done their best in terms of winning the Champions League. And to be fair, if they continue on the way that they've had in the second half of the last season, they could go well in and go in and challenge for the title. There's no doubt about that. Maybe Lukaku adds more goals, but he doesn't elevate the team to the next level. I just don't. I personally don't see it. I feel like they needed more of like a they needed someone that could have been an upgrade on Werner rather than an upgrade on on the centre forward position. That's what I personally feel like, because that's where the most dangerous positions and Chelsea came in when Werner was one-on-one with the goalkeepers and he couldn't finish. If they landed a player that could have been in the similar positions and finished those, that would have made Chelsea a lot more dangerous. But you guys are right. There's not really a level of thinking when Chelsea comes to buying players. Look, I already spoke about it today with some people. Chelsea have around four left backs, 3 right backs. They have 5 strikers at the club. When
we're bloated. What are they?
Exactly, but they don't care. They're just signing players left, right, centre, and it doesn't really hurt their pockets either.
It's because
who am I to complain? Yeah, and who am I to complain?
No, but let's be real. But the signings they have made, have been in positions where they're not heavy. Let's be real here. We're not just saying we're saying
more strikers.
This the centre they don't have that true centre forward. They've been playing Havertz there. They've brought in another centre forward. I know that was exactly the point I was going to make. They don't play him, but they're looking to get rid of Tammy. So they're taking one out and putting one in. It's not the same as saying, okay, let's get rid of four different right backs and then just have 2 in, or let's just get rid of 4 different right wings and get another right wing in. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, because if you're saying 1 in, 1 out, that's a different thing. If you're saying let's just add players,
it's not 1 in, 1 out though. It's not 1 in, 1 out.
If they're getting rid of Tammy, and they're adding going in for Lukaku, so what are we doing? 1 in, 1 out. It's not a ridiculous argument. How is it a ridiculous argument? Tell me how it's a ridiculous argument.
It is because look, I don't even want to get into this argument, but
let's do it. Let's do it, bro. Come on, let's do it. If you're gonna say it, then let's do it.
You've gone in and said that Chelsea have added where they're light, but they've got Batshuayi, they've got Tammy Abraham, they've got Kai Havertz, they've got.
And how many of those? How many did they start? How many did they start?
And there's 4 strikers. And you made the point that Tammy Abraham isn't going to play and Batshuayi isn't going to play. Same for our
they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell Tammy. They're not trying to just keep Tammy.
But the fact is, now they've added another one. They have 5 strikers at the club.
So they have 3 strikers.
Let me clarify, because they have 3 actual strikers in Tammy, Werner, and Batshuayi.
But then, if we're going to cherry pick them, then we have to say Ainsley Maitland-Niles is not a right back. He's a central midfield for the club.
How is that?
So there be more right back games they're not for Arsenal than centre mid.
No, guys, you know what? Hold on. I am 100% with Z on the bloated squad, but I don't think it matters for Chelsea. But they are bloated in that position. But they did need goals. Like, I think both are true. Where, look, the one thing that you have to look at Chelsea, they needed goals, right? And so, like what you were saying, Z, about whether you replace Werner for you need to replace goals in their team regardless. So them getting goals wasn't an issue, but he is right. They are bloated. And you have to be consistent. If you have 3 options at striker and you're getting a 4th.
They're gonna play 2 up top now.
No, they won't. I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that, Chris. I don't think you can. Like, they don't got the facilities to do that 2 up top. They really don't, because they're playing 3 at the back. It leaves a big hole. It really does. And if you're going to play 2 up top, you got to be 4-4-2, especially in this transition game. And Tuchel's not doing that. So for me, Werner's going to hug Lukaku, sure, but he won't be in a 2. It'll be in a kind of like a 3-4-3, very classically. So I completely agree with Z. It's absolutely bloated. But it doesn't matter because Chelsea don't operate that way. So it's like
they don't care.
It's like, who cares? It is bloated though. You have to be consistent
They are bloated, but
in it.
but the point is that the positions that they're buying in are positions they're looking to offload players in. That's the point I'm making.
But that's for every position, mate.
Every
You can't.
position's like that.
No,
mate.
no, 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 no,
Let's
no, no,
keep
no.
that
It's not. It's not.
consistent.
That is consistent. How is that not consistent? Someone please explain to me where my inconsistency is.
Because your argument is that, for instance, let's talk about Arsenal. Your argument is that if we have to bring in a central midfielder, we need to get one out to get one in. But they've already
That's
got
not what.
someone
Don't tell me
in.
what my argument is if you don't understand my argument.
But
If you don't understand my
otherwise,
argument, please let me explain my argument.
otherwise, there's no. Otherwise, then
That's
the
not my
context of.
argument. That's not my argument at all.
But then, okay, if that's not argument, fair enough. I agree. Cool. Then your whole argument of a squad being bloated and Chelsea adding a player into a position that they're already bloated in is non-existent because they are not bloated.
No, that's
then.
not the true at
Because
all. They are
But
extremely
Karen, Nate,
bloated. Of course, Chelsea
made
are
the comment that
bloated.
they're bloated.
No,
Guys, like
no.
Yeah, they
Okay,
are bloated. Of course,
Chelsea
they're
do have a
bloated.
bloated squad, yeah, and they're struggling to bring in certain
They have
players.
a very
because of the
bloated squad.
Yes,
Like,
of course they have a
They
bloated
can't bring
squad.
in Kunde yet because they need to get Zuma out. So
Yes.
mate, that's the same thing as in the striker department. Like the reason that, the point that they're bloated, I think, is a very, very fair criticism.
yeah, no,
Every
yeah,
team
Yeah, of
and
course they're
every
bloated.
team needs,
I think
people
we're all
out.
arguing that they're bloated. I think, but I'm just saying that it impacts us more than it impacts them.
No, but
It
Yes,
does,
they are
and
bloated.
that's what I think. That's the other
we all
hand,
agree.
though, right?
We all agree Chelsea are bloated. We all agree, right? But
Yes.
the fact of the matter is, Chelsea's pressing needs were striker. They needed goals, so they didn't really care about
yeah.
the goal. They added in a player that fit that, essentially added more output to the team. Now, Chelsea do not need a centre back. They don't need one,
No,
but
they
they can
do.
obviously they can upgrade on the quality of the centre back, which is why they want to get rid of Zuma and bring in Kunde, which is fair enough. But again, if they don't bring in a centre back this season, it's not going to affect their season massively. Whereas probably getting a striker that adds their output probably helps Chelsea finish probably at a position above in the league. So I feel like there's priorities and there's you have to level out and find the importance, and then you have to take actions. We can't just go in. For any club in the country, we can't just go in and think about the blow and say, okay, we need to get the players out before we get players in. Because
So
then,
after goals, what do you think their biggest priority was? Because I think it was centre back or centre mid.
I think for me, after goals, I think they definitely do need to improve that in that central midfield position. They do need a DM. Not
I was
only
DM
because
as
of
well. DM over centre back.
Because
DM
they don't need. I think they have a lot of centre backs.
They do. They
need a DM because after Kante, they have no one there. They have no one to play after Kante. So they need a DM.
If you're going to go a 4Z, that transition to a 4, which will happen. Like I said, a 3 has never lasted more than a season and a half. They will have to go to a 4. They need center mids in that position.
And
not
they're not getting
it. And we saw Bakayoko come on against Tottenham, and he literally made that Chelsea team look like from Champions League winners to relegation candidates. That's the level of players that need to remove and they need to upgrade. So I feel like they definitely do need to address that midfield position more so than centre back, which I think they probably will. We'll just have to wait and see. But again, with the whole blow argument, I just don't agree with you, Karen. But that's just
fine.
Us.
But you don't understand.
So.
You all just spoke over me when I tried to get my point across, but you didn't actually let me finish my point. My point is quite clear. The positions that we're trying to buy in. No. Please let me finish, for God's sake. Okay. The point I was trying to make is that we're actually we're buying players in positions that we're light, and we're trying to get players that, for example, the backup for Thomas Partey, which we suffered for in the past, the backup for Kieran Tierney, which we suffered last season, and now we're going to get players out, and then we can get players in that we need to get the positions that we're going in. We're going for attacking midfield. We're going to go for. I'm hoping a right back and a goalkeeper. But the point that we're trying to say is, we're only getting, we need to get one player out, one player in.
Are you talking about us, or are you talking about?
Yeah,
Chelsea?
I'm talking about both.
You're talking about both.
Both. You get players in that you're light in first, and then you do one player in, one player out for positions that you don't need in. That was my point. My point was that they're prioritizing positions that they need to get in first, and then they're going for positions that they want to improve at, and then then you need to get players out to get players in. And that's the situation we are in right now, because we've addressed issues that we're actually using positions that we're light in. Now we're going for positions where we're trying to get better quality in. That was my point. Nothing to do with one player in, one player out for everything. You go for light first, and then you go for quality.
But don't you think the ethos of each club changes that calculus? Because for Chelsea,
Of course it does. Because they don't care.
It doesn't really matter, because for them, they're able to not even priority of a team. Like for them, they can splash the 80 million on a center back and then do the same for goals.
Yes,
I think your logic is very good and clear for addressing your immediate transfer priorities first and making sure that you fill in holes in the squad first before you go to upgrades. But like, that's very sound logic. It's just, I think with Chelsea, it isn't logic.
No, it isn't logic with them. It isn't logic with them. But the point is that's where they've gone. They've gone to their priority positions first, thrown whatever money they want to throw at, and then they're moving on to positions that they're lower priority for them when they need to manage the squad in an efficient manner. So they're getting players. They need to shift players. For example, the Zuma deal in the Koundé example. They're trying to move. They're trying to move on players like Bakayoko.
Alonso in the Inter deal.
Exactly, trying to move Alonso. And now it's a case of squad management to try and get the players in that they can get that maximize the quality for the season coming up. So just to say that we're just saying, oh, the squad is bloated, so we're not buying players. No, it's not about just the squad bloating. You have to address positions that you're light in before you go in for over bloated positions. That was my point.
It's a 5-year deal, 250k a week.
It's horrible business. Can we all
yeah, of course we can agree on that.
It is a horrible business.
It's ridiculous business, but I think for them, who cares?
Who cares?
Exactly. No one should care about it. To be fair, looking at Chelsea, they never have long-term plans. They
don't. And I want to make the point, because like, I want to be fair. Like, if I was sitting here and it was Arsenal, I would be worried. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
sure. I wouldn't like it, man.
No, and I think, oh shit, it's going to cripple us for 5 years, and it doesn't mean that he's a shit player, and I wouldn't take Romelu. I use this as an extension, guys, of talking to fans about what an ethos of a club is. This is what my point I want to get across, because here at Arsenal, I think 95% of fans would love Romelu Lukaku, but for us, we look at the business, and I would say not 95%, but probably more like 50% would say, no, I wouldn't take it, because it's a horrible deal, and I know that it would affect us for the next 5 years. We've seen the Ozils of this world. But Chelsea laugh at that, and they've always been like that for years. And by the way, it's not even about ambition, because I've seen people throw that back at me, because Chelsea and City are unique in this aspect, by the way, guys. Like, Liverpool don't run their business club like this, and they've been extremely successful. Manchester United, by the way, even though they spend quite a bit, they're not to this extent. Like, Chelsea and City are very, very different. Guys, do you realize that City are going to break the English record twice in the same window? You guys do realize?
The only team that's done that before, I think, is probably United.
It's United, yeah.
United used to do that all the time.
And they're going to do that this year. So for me, it's like, I don't know, guys. I look at this Lukaku deal. I think we've said the pros and the cons. I think we all a little bit disagree a little bit on bloated, but I think we all agree that you need to address your holes first and then upgrades in the starting 11 after. Like, that's sound logic. It just, I'm with Z.
Don't work on logic.
Like, it's very sound.
There's one thing that we need to all be happy about, is that the Chelsea are the graveyard of strikers. So we can't guarantee that Lukaku will come in and bang. We can't guarantee.
He's going to be player of the season, man. Don't worry.
Good point.
Yeah, he's going to be player. He's going to win player of the year, football player of the year, Ballon d'Or. He's going to win it all. Don't worry, man. It's going to be calm. So on that note, let's move on to Jack Grealish then. So we've just mentioned him before. It's what a deal, yeah.
Do we know what the structure is at all? Anybody? Because I haven't seen proper. I've just seen the £100 million fee.
I don't think many have even released that news, because the Messi thing happened an hour before.
I know.
So it was.
Do you think it's apparently it's a $100 million deal in totality, but it's going to be paid over 3 years.
Okay.
So it seems like a good deal, but again, I don't know. If that's the amount we're paying for attacking midfielders of that caliber, I don't even have to. I can't even imagine what we have to pay for someone that's slightly better, man. That's that. If you want to say something that's ruining the window, it's signings like that.
Yeah, 150
Because-
for Madison now, I think. 100%.
No, so actually, Z, that's a good point though. So what do you think ruins the window more, a Lukaku or a Grealish? Because for me, I'll just say really quickly, Grealish, both are overpriced. Yeah, like 100%.
Yeah,
But for
both
me,
are.
Grealish at 24 makes sound business decision because I feel that you can recoup a lot of that when he's 28 in his prime, searching for his last contract. Whereas a Lukaku, I'm not recovering that. And so I think that's worse on the market, a Lukaku type deal than a Grealish.
The
I don't know
Lukaku deal
about you.
is worse because it's £2.5 million in difference, the fee. And it's essentially the same thing. But with Grealish, you have to add the fact that last year Grealish was 80 million, and then he signed a new 5-year deal. Lukaku was on a 3-year deal.
And he got in the England squad.
Yeah, and he went to the final. So it's like I think the Lukaku deal definitely is worse. They're both massively overestimated prices, but like I think the Lukaku deal has a bigger impact because the Lukaku deal happened as a reaction, or more of as a reaction to Grealish, so that Chelsea can flex their financial muscle. But
actually, I don't know. I wanted to get Z's thoughts on the deal, because then I have kind of a surprising opinion on Grealish and how he fits in at City.
It's not going to be it.
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I feel like I think Manchester City were probably one of the only clubs that were aware of his release clause or whatever they want to put it. So I feel like, you know, if no one knew, they could have actually haggled the deal down to probably like an 85 million. I don't know, just 100 million pound in the grand scheme of things looks very good, because you're paying for a player that's going to be with your club for like minimum 5 years, 6 years, whatever. But just to put on a standalone deal, it's a very dangerous precedent to set on standards of players and the money we're paying. Because, for instance, let's say a player that comes out next season, a breakout player, and he has similar numbers to the likes of Jack Grealish. You know, are we going to have to pay 60, 70 million for these players? What I'm trying to say is that it's ruining football. It's in the most nicest way possible.
It's not a negotiation. It was a release clause. It wasn't a negotiation. They paid a release clause.
It is, but that's the level of level of financial muscle that Manchester City can flex. Now, what these clubs, the likes of Norwich, Aston Villa, all these clubs that might produce these kind of players, they will now go in and look at Chelsea and City and say, look, we only want to sell our players to you because you're the only clubs that are going to be offering these kind of money. And that's what's happening. That's what's going to be happening to the likes to the Premier League. And that's what I'm saying. It's a negative spiral.
But this is how the game has always been.
But you know what, Kurt, no, I don't know, mate, because I don't agree. This transfer window is going to be historical. Like, when you start deeping and I've said this in chats right now, I don't know if people are like clocking in right now, but in the last week, okay, I just want to review what's happened in the last week, okay? In addition to your Sanchos and your smaller Varans and Ben Whites, who have been 70, 50, 50 mil, we've had a confirmed £100 million, another £100 million, and Lionel Messi leaving on a free.
And a 50 from Spurs.
And a 50 from Spurs with Romero. That's in a week.
Guys. That's a loan deal.
That's
a loan deal, by the way.
It's obligation for 47.5.
And guys, okay, look, the biggest transfers were, Neymar and Mbappe, although they were agreed, they didn't go through in the same window. I think a lot of people forget that, right? So when you were looking at like a Neymar or even a Coutinho, that 140 and respectively the £200 million deal, that was the only big deal of the market. Now, you've got £200 million, a free that's absolutely insane, a 70 million and a bunch of 50s. Like, the global money influx has changed. Like, I don't know about you, Z, but like I'm looking at the money in and out in the football pyramid right now. And in a week, it went from nobody's moving to, holy shit, this is going to be the biggest transfer window in our history as a global sport.
Everyone's reacting to each other now. That's how it's going to be.
And people come out and say it's a pandemic window and whatnot, but then
It's not
you're
now.
flaunting up money like that.
It's not now.
It's
teams aren't
exactly.
affected by it.
It's no longer.
I thought
When
I,
one
I, no,
team-
I thought it was a correction now. I thought that was it was a COVID correction now, wasn't it?
Now, when one team does that, what City did, because City
Yeah.
did their deal fast, because
Mhm.
apparently there was a clause in Grealish's contract, that £100 million release clause.
It
was set to
lasted only
expire.
a little bit.
It was supposed to expire today, so City had to get everything done, the medical, all that done in a week, which meant they did everything fast. So City did all that quick, and then Chelsea in 10 days get the Lukaku deal done. So everybody's just reacting off each other now, and it's Chelsea City itself a dangerous chain reaction that will.
Well, as long as
Obviously,
it started,
massive
that's the main
impact.
thing.
Yeah,
But
obviously.
you know what? Look,
massive
Lukaku,
impact.
and like I kind of use this only because I want to talk about Grealish before maybe I do that because I think it's a good transition to like our business, and I'm sure the guys don't worry. Like in the comments, we'll address our business kind of towards the end. There's just been a lot of crap that we've got to deal with right now. But look, Grealish, I've got a very surprising opinion here. Okay, I don't think Jack Grealish does well at Manchester City.
Me neither.
I don't think individually that was the career choice for him. Looking at Pep and what he does to wingers of that caliber, I don't know if he's going to have the same effect that he's had at Villa. He's not going to get the same freedom. We know that factually. He will not get the same freedom that he was afforded. And I don't know if he's able to take the next step while that team does absolutely insane success-wise. So I think the success of the team isn't in question. But individually, Jack Grealish is not going to do great next season for me. I really think he's going to struggle. I really think that was not what they needed. I'm very interested to see what they do because especially in, kind of Pep's system who plays, sometimes he does, if you guys actually look at it, his Pep system is very weird where he's got that 5 channels, right, that we've got. But they're a halfway line defending team. Jack Grealish is not that with Aston Villa. Half of his game, in fact, 70% of his game, is progressing from the first phase up into the final third. That's like 70% of his game at Aston Villa that I don't think people are understanding. Manchester City aren't going to ask him to do that. And so now you're asking him, okay, you're in the final third and I need you to be an output machine, right? Like they don't need the creativity. That isn't what they need. And so for me, I was like, look, he's a world-class player. He's not going to be horrible or whatever. But for me, he's not going to be a staple within the league. And individually, he will suffer, much like Riyad Mahrez has suffered. I don't think Pep and individual freedom go hand in hand. I think he has a real problem with it. Samuel Eto'o, Thierry Henry,
He
Riyad
takes
Mahrez.
it away. It's not. He takes that away from players. All them.
Sterling. People forget Raheem Sterling was insanely creative.
Yeah.
And so I just think he has a precedent for restricting freedom in players. And for me, Jack Grealish is a type of player who wants to entertain people. Sorry, say again?
That's you talking. That's Z echoing for you.
Z echoed.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So no, I think that it's huge, man. Like I don't think Jack Grealish does as well as he did.
This City team is going to depend a lot on Raheem Sterling this year.
And just really quickly, Yo-Yo, about your saying the transfers only affect the Prem. Mate, I'm not too sure. 97.5 million to Lukaku has knock-on effects for Atlanta, has knock-on effects for us. Lukaku right now gives Inter money that they're not in as much financial instability that they can't afford.
How much that goes to United?
Of Hector
Doesn't
Bellerin.
that go to United?
Sorry.
Doesn't that loss
go some money to United? Yeah.
United
they owe
as well.
some. They owed 43 million, but guys, it's 97 million, so they can afford a 20 million pound purchase of Hector Bellerin, for example. And it has a knock-on effect for Atlanta buying Tammy. Tammy then being away from Chelsea, maybe allowing them to buy a center back like Koundé. Like those knock-on effects aren't just in the Prem for me, and that's what I was talking about in terms of a trickle-down money effect for me, where now Atlanta's got money that they're going to have because Inter will probably want to buy Zapata too from them, and this is how the money gets shared in the world of football from these transfers. Aston Villa receive 100 million from Jack Grealish and go buy Leon Bailey. I mean, they did buy within the league to get Buendia, but this is the logic for how it doesn't only affect the Prem. Because then you go and you get your deals for your Leon Baileys quick, and it raises the level, and that it raises the water. You know what it is, guys? It's a high tide. This is what the analogy is. You get a big wave, and some of the bigger sailboats go a little bit higher than the others, okay? But all the sailboats rise in the port. All of them do. And that's kind of the effect for me. But yeah, that's my Grealish big opinion. I don't know what you guys think on Grealish, but
he obviously won't be utilized the same way because all them big names that go to City, they
but
get
Chris,
changed.
can he be an 8? Because look, logically,
That's
he's
what
going
Pep
to be an
said.
8.
Apparently,
You know
Pep
what
said
that's
he
what
wants
Pep
to.
sees him as.
Yeah, Pep sees him as an 8.
As an 8.
So it's probably.
He sees him as Iniesta, basically. He wants to
They've been
make
throwing
him
that thing
his
around
Man
about
City Iniesta.
Grealish and De Bruyne together, which I would
love.
God, they try that against us. I hope that they play Grealish and De Bruyne against us.
Yeah,
because that really, really kills them,
mm-hmm.
especially with Pep. I think Pep. Okay, so with Pep, obviously, he has a tendency to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. So Pep will always try something different in the final. No matter how important a game is, he will try something new. And I think he'll probably end up trying the Grealish De Bruyne thing or Foden De Bruyne or something like that a couple times next season. And it will hurt him, but I think he will continue to do it just because he'll get in his own way. And I think so these £100 million signings will be to the detriment of City because there were more they could have done. They needed another DM, I think, because Fernandinho is 36 and they probably will get Kane, and so they needed other things, and they're securing they've given other contracts out. But
I think Declan Rice does more than Jack Grealish for them if they were just
same. I thought they were going to go for him, and Chelsea wanted him as well, but Chelsea, I'm not sure are willing to pay the 80 or 60 to West Ham. So them two, even though they're splashing the £100 million on random players, they're gonna miss out on something that they crucially need, and I think it's just to flaunt their finances. So I think Grealish has gone there to the detriment of himself.
It's something that I raised as well. I always had just from a financial point of view, I always had the thought that this market would probably be the market where there's a correction of value. For instance, these big signings that that are made for 100 million, they reduce their value for at least 30, 40 million, so it goes back to 60, 70 million. But what these two clubs have done is they're like, no, they've raised it again. So they've allowed all these other signings to keep it at like 50, 60, 70, and
Tammy is 40 million pounds now, right, Z? That's the implication. Not 30.
35 million. Yeah, because look, you have players like Hosam Awa available for 20 million pounds, but now that's 35. That's 35 again. So that's what I'm trying to say. These clubs, they're not stupid, by the way. They know exactly.
It's good for the teams that Chelsea that are trying to sell these players that tell me that if Atalanta comes in for your player, Atalanta can't come now and tell Chelsea, we don't have money because Tottenham just gave you 50 million. So you can't tell me that you don't have money when that's why they tried to, that's why Villa did all their stuff early, because they knew even if they just paid £40 million for Buendia and 30 up front, all their money up front, so they had a lump sum, so they could do all this stuff up front. But other teams won't have the luxury of doing their stuff early. Now Atalanta are caught in some trouble because I think didn't they just buy that centre back from Juventus? I forgot his name. Demiral. They just bought him for
loan with
37
option.
million. Yeah, loan with option for 37 million. So these teams don't have the luxury of that Villa had of potentially lowering the deal. But yes, it's going to have implications for all these teams because now Leverkusen have money because of Villa. So the money is, I get what you're saying, the money is going to trickle down. and we're gonna give Leicester money. So all this stuff is paying for. All the top clubs are paying for all the other clubs.
Let's on that note, let's just move on to us because I don't want to spend the entire time without talking about us. So so apparently we're finishing in the bottom half of the table according to half our fan base. I really want to I'd like to expand on that. I mean, do we really see? I mean, 15th. Are we good with that? 15th, 16th. I think we're going to be.
Let me go on that.
Let me go on that
first.
That, yeah.
Like with me, I think I've been pretty clear since maybe May on here that I've been pretty clear of where I said we're going to finish this season, and I think that this thing about us finishing bottom half is blown so far out of proportion, especially with the big accounts now really pushing in the thing where we're shit and all this stuff like that Eduardo Hayne and all this stuff. But like, yeah, I think we're gonna finish.
We're doing a video on it.
I'll say this in the prediction. I'll save it for the prediction. But if you go back, you'll see where I said it will finish. And yeah, like I think it's all being blown out of proportion just because Arsenal fans are a bit more impatient now that 200 million signings, 200 million pound signings happen in a week. So the impatience has definitely risen from that. And I think next week is when we probably do a lot more things than that our fans actually really want.
George?
It's ridiculous. I've always said. Yeah,
come on, man.
I don't
be delusional.
It's long, and it's getting old. I told everybody to wait. The market would open. The market has opened. Just patience. I've always said I'm never worried about James Maddison. Like everyone's worried about the wrong thing right now, and I don't know how Z feels right now, but like I'm very clear. James Maddison is coming, like 100%. You can clip it, do whatever you want. That's not the issue, guys. It's what comes after James Maddison that I'm worried about.
It's been clipped, George. Don't worry.
Good, because there's no chance of it not happening. Like James Maddison comes, but I'm really worried what happens after him, and what the plan is. That's what I'm worried about. So I did get a lot more optimism with Lukaku because, like I said, this has knock-on effects, right? Like, look, guys, Inter need a right back, right? And I've always said that the way that Ngazi plays, Hector Bellerin is always going to be massively of interest, okay? That gives them money. So that turns into a potential sale. That a week ago, I don't know about you, Z, but we were like, where are they going to get the money to do it? We may have to buy Lautaro just to get rid of him. But I think, oddly, and I've said this to Chris and others, I think Chelsea indirectly may have saved our window.
Probably. Because they don't need to sell Lautaro because they've already got 150 million in sales from Lukaku and Hakimi.
It's completely different with this whole Lautaro thing. I think what these players from Inter Milan, they've looked at that. They've looked at the transfer. They've seen Conte also leave. Now they're all going to want to leave. So I think that's a complete other argument to be made. So I don't know. Despite me personally not wanting Lautaro Martinez, it's definitely an option that's open for Arsenal. But I don't think that's where the argument lies. I feel like definitely someone like James Maddison should be coming in because we're light in that attacking midfield position. There's no two ways. There's no two ways about that. I feel like it's more of the fact that we don't have a team ready that's quite different from the team that ended last season, and people look at that team and they're like, "Oh, we haven't seen much change. So are we going to see much change this season?" And I feel like fans have a right to be upset, and I feel like fans also have a right to be positive and negative, but that's just their opinion and that's their outlook on life and how they see their team. So I feel like we shouldn't be. For example, we see like someone like Edu Hagen. He's completely pessimistic about this whole transfer window, and sometimes he's very apparently optimistic,
today,
which he.
Today,
exactly. So we see that, and we're like, okay, there's no balance there. But every fan they can share either side of the argument. And I feel like, for example, me, I've been extremely positive this entire window. I've said, well, you know what? Well, let's wait for everything to happen. Let's wait for all the players to leave and stuff. But the fact is, we're 3 weeks away, and we haven't really seen much. So it scares me because, again, I could be on the stream next week, and we could say, "Oh, we only have 2 weeks, and we still haven't had players left." What I'm trying to say is, time is running down. and we still haven't seen much to say that the team is going to be completely different from next season. And I think we can all agree on the fact that the team probably won't be massively different to the team that ended last season, that starts against Brentford. And I feel
I
like
don't
that's where
think
the
our
fans.
best team last season is that far away from being what you want. And I
That's
think
that's your argument. That's a
yeah,
complete
it
argument,
is.
because you also agreed to the fact that fans love a new shiny toy, so they want to see the shiny toy. So that kind of adds to your entire argument that that you're saying that the best team probably won't be different to what ended last season, but fans don't perceive that. Fans want to see new players. They want to see Lautaro Martinez. They want to see James Madison. They want to see Rido Baku. They want to see Onana. They want to see all these players. And the fact that we only have Ben White in, and most of these fans didn't even want Ben White in the first place, that's the main reason as to why the whole meltdown has taken place. And can we blame Edu and Garlic for not being proactive enough to make 2 or 3 more signings that affected the starting lineup? 100% we could, but we also have to look at the way the window has gone and say that
I
maybe
was
that has
just
actually.
Z, I was just gonna interject in that exact point, and I basically have a question to you, because look, I actually get the fan anxiety. Okay, like I argue with it a lot because I don't agree, but I've always been calm in the window, so I know I've got that perspective. But I get it. I do get it, because you're right. There is a level of not perceived change because there's a lot of toys. But the way that the market has gone is a very important point that I wanted to ask you, like logically though. Like I get there's anxiety, but would you not agree the last week your perceptions changed about what could happen given what's been done? Because a week and a half ago, I would say less than 250 million pounds has left the market. And since then, that
It's almost
number
half
has
a
been
billion.
injected into the global economy. And for me, the market's opened. So for me,
Yeah, for sure.
this slug, I don't know if that persists for the next 3 weeks.
I think
I don't.
there has to be something that's very consistent. Sorry, Corin, but I just want to add to the fact that throughout this
Go on.
entire transfer window, I've never gone against the fact that we will still make 3 to 4 more signings towards the end of the window. I've never gone against the fact. I'm not really worried about that. My main thing is with the whole ethos of the window was to get players in and players out. I'm more worried about the players that we're keeping in, the likes of Hector Bellerin, the Reece Nelsons, the Xhakas, and all of these players. And that's what I was more upset about, because we shouldn't be taking this window as a stance to start saying, you know what, we want to get the best money out for our players, because the fact of the matter is we don't have that. We don't have the backing to do that. We need to get rid of players. We know that, because obviously we have a bloated squad, and plus we might need some financial help regardless of a budget. So that's where I was upset, because we're not being proactive enough in trying to sell someone like Hector Bellerin or Xhaka or the likes of Reece Nelson. Even Eddie Nketiah is now injured. What is he? Can he leave? Possibly not. So that's where my pessimism comes in. It's more of the fact that the players haven't left more than players coming in. I was never worried about players coming in.
You don't
No
think
doubt.
we've been proactive in trying to get them out? I think we have been proactive in trying to get them out. I don't think we've been good in finalizing the deals, but trying to get them out, I think
that's a fair point.
Yeah. So look, guys, you know where I'm at with this right now is I think fans aren't being fair to the squad depth and Ben White. I will be honest with that, because we saw what happened when Luis left, by the way, our team, right? And I think that lost us 12 points, by the way. Luis, himself, but also him out of the team with injuries, when he was out, lost us roughly 12 points last season. He was very important to our style of play. And when you've recruited a Ben White who is better than Luis at progressing the ball, he adds a different dimension. It's a huge security. In addition, you've got depth options now for Partey, who now is injured, by the way, and he gets injured. We have a Lukunga option. That's huge over El Neni, right? And I do think that those have saved points, but I get Z's counter where it's like the team hasn't changed much because Lukunga, Ben White, they're not flashy signings, are they? I would argue say the same money was spent, but on a Lautaro Martinez, fans' perception would be much different on this
They're
window.
not shiny.
I don't know how people view on that comment, essentially. So even though the signings that we've made are better for us, if they were a different name, fans would have agreed with it more. And I
a
do
different
think
price
that
as well.
a preseason with Arteta is huge. I do think that. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm here to gloat for a bit because I told everyone that the system was changing. I told everyone. And then Chelsea rolls around. And what do we see? What do we see? A halfway line defending team with overlapping fullbacks both sides. Where have we heard that before? And I don't think it's coincidence. I don't. And so for me, when I start looking at that, and I really feel as though fans need to understand, how do we facilitate that move? And I've told fans, how does that happen? Maddison is huge to that halfway line defending. Ben White is huge to that halfway line defending. Do we need more? Sure. But I think confirming that actually let us know a lot about Mikel, and I don't know what you guys think. I do think, sorry, Curran, the 4-3-3 is dead now. I think we can all agree that that's the long-term vision. I've never thought that it was the plan. And look, I've had this debate, and we'll get somebody on that isn't of the same opinion as me. But I've received a lot of counters that, George, how can you say that so definitively? He said that we wanted to go 4-3-3 and that we needed 5 to 6 players. Well, I'm sorry, guys, Mikel Arteta lies. And when you look at the actual play, it was never 4-3-3 in how he did attacking patterns, how he did the counter press. It was never that. And when you now look at a Joe Willock sale, and I don't know, Z, maybe you can speak to it because there's a lot of crap going on the timeline that I don't necessarily believe about talks breaking down and whatnot. But I really think that Joe Willock leaving and the recruitment of a James Maddison speaks volumes to that. I got in arguments on Twitter that apparently Houssam Aouar was our priority signing last summer, which is hogwash. Like, Thomas Partey was always the absolute, if you could only get one, Thomas Partey was always going to be the one. The goal was to try to get two. And I don't understand why fans are twisting that.
Yeah, it was.
There were links to Houssam Aouar. Thomas Partey was always the priority. Z, maybe you can confirm it because you've got more credence than me. But am I off here? What if he was priority?
That window, I will back Arsenal all the way for last window because one, we had a deal wrapped up for Philippe Coutinho. That wasn't done. And then we had a deal wrapped up for Houssam Aouar. That wasn't done. How you can't have two deals in the same position wrapped up and then have last minute snags and you still say Arsenal haven't done their best because they did try their best. That's completely separate. And I feel like fans ignore those things. People forget about the fact that Philippe Coutinho was inches away from joining Arsenal until the manager changed. And then everybody now, it's public news that his brother has affected the Arsenal deal. So why are we still banging on about that? We tried to do our best, and we had some comfort in by bringing in someone like Willian, despite him performing the way he did the season. We thought that he was an attacking player for the club, and he could have obviously helped in terms of the creative outlay at Arsenal. So I don't think people think of it like that. People are just saying, no, we only got one player in Partey, and we got a dead within Willian. You can't think of it like that. The club tried their best last season. In fact, I'd give them props for getting the Gabriel deal done because you know what, he was one of the most highly sorted defenders last season. The fact that we got him done was amazing. So I don't know, man. The fans need to stop looking in the past. Anyways, we need to think about the new regime, the new people at the club, and how they're moving in this window. And you guys are right. We should be judging at the end of the window when all the players are in and out, but we can only judge them currently based on what they have done as it stands. And so far, it isn't looking the best, but there's obviously room for improvement. Do you guys agree on that?
Tell me why we're judging a fluid situation.
That's the most.
Why are we judging a fluid situation? Tell me, please, someone.
Sorry, go ahead, Kurt.
I said, why are we judging a fluid situation? literally minute by minute things are changing.
No, but I
We're
think
judging
that
the
last
situation
sentence is
in real
probably the
time.
most sense Z has got throughout this entire thing, where I get the itchy feet. You can get that, but you have to give room that the window's not done. You have to. And especially with the way that the market's moved in the last week.
It's not done, no.
Yeah, and so, but I get the itchy feet. I
Like,
can get that. But I just
I
No,
I
but
need
understand
the
someone
it.
asked him a
caveat.
question. But it's a fluid situation. Like, we're
I
not
know.
looking at things we're looking at things in real time and being like, okay, I'm not happy now. And then literally 5 minutes later, a deal could be
You know what it
announced
is,
and then
Kern?
everyone starts
It's like
going
this.
crazy for it.
Instant
This is
gratification.
an analogy that I can do, guys, for you. It's like you're trying to get a new car. I don't know if anybody, and I've done this recently, but like as a new adult, when you're getting a car, very typically you want to trade in your old one, okay? Unless you're able to splash the cash of the Chelsea and buy your new one, right? But until a deal's done, I can assure you, I'm shitting my pants. I know I'll get the car, but I'm
Yeah,
shitting my pants. And it is a
100%.
fluid negotiation.
You
It's
don't want
not
to
like
get
it's
screwed
done.
over, yeah.
But I get the itchy feet. So I did want to, because I feel like people think I'm too positive and I don't hear the other opinion. I do get the itchy feet.
Imagine you.
I know. And I just hope that people get that I understand that, but I want them to have the caveat. The window's not done. And the way we've moved has been positive. And so you have to caveat it with, look, I'm freaking worried and I have a right to be worried, but it's not done. I'm holding my breath. We're not 15th, okay? Can we stop with that shenanigans? And I don't think Z is advocating that either, okay? And I think I just want to get that kind of point across personally, where I think there just needs to be a level of, there's a difference between venting and evaluating. How about that? That's probably the best way I can put this.
But this happens in business all the time. You don't go in and say, "Oh, let's just see how we've performed financially at the end of the business period." No, they always look at the snapshot of the current state, and as it stands, it's not looking good. But maybe at the end of the business period of the transfer window, it might look good. And we only have to evaluate what's happened as it stands. And I feel like it's unfair to tell someone that no, let's evaluate at the end of the window. Because
I'm not saying
that
don't do
person,
it. I'm not saying don't do it, but I just don't understand it. That's my point.
there's
a
well,
difference.
you personally may not, but each side has there's an equal argument. To be fair, you may be positive and say no, I'll just judge at the end of the window, which fair
That's
play.
not
I
positive.
don't think that's
How's that
positivity. I
positive?
think it's just patience. It's not
But
positivity.
it is patience.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I feel like, you know what, all of you guys should do the same. Be patient and wait until the end of the window. But we cannot go and tell someone that we cannot go in and tell someone, oh no, be patient. Don't judge by what's happening now, because they have a fair point to judge by what's happening currently right now. And so far, we've only brought 3 players in, and only one of them starts for Arsenal. So
And
that's
the one I want to talk about, the one that starts, because Ben White, I don't like he was the Luiz replacement, and Luiz's injury cost us. And Ben White's durability is crazy. Like last season, he started 36 games.
38.
He averaged 89 minutes a game, and in the league, and he played 36 out of 38. And the season before, in the Championship, he averaged 90 minutes. He played every minute of Leeds' season. He played 46 games out of 46, and he never got injured once. And I don't think he sustained an injury yet in his career. So it's like people don't understand the durability factor that comes with Ben White, because injuries have always cost us for the past 15 years. Since 2007, injuries have always killed our season. And to get
but also, Chris, it's not even just that. It's the replacement's not playing. Like Holding, it doesn't play. This is what I don't think fans are understanding here. And I think Lukaku, El Neni isn't playing. Xhaka never gets injured himself. And so when Thomas does get injured, it's Lukaku that plays. It's not El Neni. So the floor of the team has been raised. I get the opinion of Z, though. You can be impatient, and I get that. I do get that. It's just I think there's a disingenuous evaluation of what we've done to date. I really do. And how much it affects us, because we didn't miss out on top 4 last season because we didn't address all the gaps, really. If we actually had our team, by the way, we only had. Do you guys know how often we were able to play Kieran Tierney, David Luiz, Xhaka, and Thomas Partey?
5.
It's like 5 times, yeah.
Yeah, 5 in a 38-game season. Does that shock anybody?
Yeah.
Like,
It's,
so,
No, of
so,
course not. No.
so
I
then
mean, you'll
honestly,
probably just be doing more business late in the window, anyways.
no, but like
No,
even
I'm just gonna.
Chris, I'm even going
Yeah,
from the standpoint. Let's go super pessimistic. We get nothing done. Okay, in that window, I again make that point. If those 4 players only played together 5 games out of a 38-game season, what do you think the improvement is having them play 20 games out of a 38 season?
Yeah. And now we have
Or at least their
adequate
replacements. Or that's where I was getting to. Or at least their replacements being of requisite quality. Like, what does that do to us? Because we were 6 points off top 4. So I just want people to recognize that impact. Now, that doesn't mean that we're top 4 if we do nothing right now. I want to be very clear. Like, we'll make our predictions about what we're doing, but I'm telling you right now, if we do nothing, our level is 6th. It is, from what we've done to date. For me, you get a James Maddison, that creeps up to 5th for me. You basically get another signing that increases the level of what we can do for myself. And Z, I think even the most pessimistic, because I want to get like factuals from this, because I think we've talked about both sides quite well from broad strokes.
Correct.
But even in the most pessimistic market, we get 2 signings. No, like attacking mid
I
and
say minimum
goalkeeper
3.
happen. Even in the most
I know-
pessimistic people, can we like
We
confirm that?
will get 3 signings. We will get. There's no way, because we need a goalkeeper. We need an attacking midfielder, and I think at the end
And the
we
spaces
probably
are
will
open.
go in for a striker. I'm not really worried about that. I'm more worried about as it stands where we are, and maybe probably as it stands, it doesn't look too good. And and again, probably there's different levels of argument. Maybe the longer we wait in the window, we might get better quality of players, or the longer we wait, we might just have to settle for a lesser quality. I think it's a completely different argument, and we just have to wait and see. But the fact is, we should get those numbers in. We'll get those numbers in, and I'm not worried about that. I've never been worried about it. I think also another thing, we just need to get the players out. That's another clubs of the argument. We need
Do
to
you have
get
any
numbers
update
out.
on Joe Willock at all, Z? Because that's a weird one that I've seen very
Yeah.
conflicting things online.
No, I think you're going off with the whole Conrad Harrison guy, whatever.
I'm doing it for the
don't-
fans. I don't believe it, but I'm just doing it for the
No,
fans.
I've seen his tweets. I think he's going off by some other news as well. I think there is a level of agreement with Arsenal and Newcastle, and he wants to leave himself. I think it's Arteta who is evaluating the situation and seeing what he needs. I think he might play tomorrow, and I think based on that, something may or may not happen, and we might have a Martinez situation where he's out of the squad by the first game.
I would also like to add, because Joe Willock, I think that's a different conversation. We've gone long. I don't want to get into that one, but I think your Martinez comparison is actually apt.
Great.
Look, the thing is, right, with this window, and look, everyone, I don't really care about other. I mean, I understand what I love talking to people. I love listening to people. Your opinion is your opinion. I don't begrudge your opinion. If I don't understand it, I don't understand it. But that's what it is. If you want to be pessimistic, optimistic, positive. But what I don't like is when people tell me what my own opinion is. That's my only thing. If you want to listen to me and have my opinion, that's more than it happened, and that's happened way too much on social media recently, where people try to tell me what I think. Well, you don't know what I think. You're not me unless you literally step into my brain and tell me let me know what I want to think. Then do that. But unless you're doing that, then please let's just not try and tell me what I think. What my position has always been is at the end of the last season we had 3 issues. We had an issue with creativity. We had an issue with a backup to Thomas Partey, and we had an issue with a backup to Kieran Tierney. We've addressed 2 of those issues. We're now moving to address the third. We've addressed the fact that our most progressive centre back has left the club in David Luiz, and that's why I went when I did my piece for whenever I wrote. I said at this moment in time, I don't care. I think this is a 7 out of 10 window so far because of the way the market has moved. because of the way the slowness of the market and the fact that we've got backups in for the positions that we've needed. We need to address first initially the fact that we've made key signings in our youth, especially keeping someone like Emil Smith Rowe, who in the past, let's be real, could have left on to a Villa or to an Aston Villa if previous regimes were in place. The likes of Kido and Arthur as well. We've signed up. What is it, George? Isn't it 6 academy players this window?
Youth
6,
players,
right?
yeah.
Like when
7,
yeah.
I think. But it's a lot.
It's a lot. And look, the only thing I don't want to make, I'm glad that, you put this comment up because I've said the same. I really don't think Oba's dead. But I really think we as fans, and I don't want to get too long because we've gone on for a long time, and I'm cognizant of us wrapping up soon. But
Youth players.
I don't think that fans understand indirect effects on teams. I've talked a lot about this, right? Like what my opinion on Buendia is a direct effect of how I view Smith Rowe, right? My opinion on James Maddison and what he does for the team is not just creative, but what does he do to Oba? Huge. Who has been James Madison's best partnership?
Vardy.
Jamie Vardy. Who's Jamie Vardy like? Aubameyang. Like the indirect effect of these, like they don't just address the creativity. Like fans just look at our team and say we lack goals, therefore we need a 20-goal striker. No. That isn't the conclusion to make. Like, how is our progression? How's our midfield balance? Is it up to the standard? Do we have a consistent overlapping right back, which by the way is clearly the freaking philosophy? Do we? I'm tired of fans not understanding that it isn't a simple correlation. No goals means we buy goals. That isn't the only way to cut your pie.
Goals in your squad.
Okay,
you have to unlock goals in your squad as well.
Yeah, and so look, I just hope fans are patient enough for this. Again, I agree with Z. I think things will happen much later on in the window. I really do. I think that I just want to end on a more positive. I think we've done a good job with broad overviews. I think things move. I really do. I've always said I think Joe Willock gets announced next week, and I think James Maddison the week after. I think that's the timeline I'm looking at. I'm definitely looking at a backup goalkeeper in there, and I'm wondering for me now, I've made a concession. I don't know if we get all of the stuff done depending on our outgoings. Right. And I think that's been part of the anxiety. Right. So that third signing becomes dependent on sales, in my opinion. And I don't know if Z can back it up.
Yeah, no, I think that's the main thing. I still think we'll probably get 3 in. I have this sneaky feeling that we will still go in for a central midfielder. I just don't know. It's just a general feeling, but I've said minimum 3 and max 4. That's where I'm.
And that's what I hope, right? Like for me, Z, I don't know what you like. I'm just going to say this right now. This is my idea. Ainsley out means center mid in. Hector out opens up a right back too. So, I think that's the block right now. And also with Messi leaving,
they're gonna go. I feel like we went into the window saying Hakimi or no one. I think the fact that we couldn't get Hakimi, I don't think we're gonna go for anyone. I think that's it. I feel like I've already heard that we've spoken to Bellerin, and we're trying to keep him for the window and for this season, anyways. So that's another. That to me was a bit shocking when I heard it, but goes to show that we probably don't think that we will get a right back in, and so I think we're not going to get a right back. I feel like we're going to address different positions, probably the midfield and goalkeeper position, and probably striker in the end.
I prefer center mid. If there's a position to lose out on, right back for me is the one.
Yeah.
I would rather that third be a center mid signing. But
Spino's signing is much more key, to be honest.
Yes, and so I think that I think Ainsley is also gone as well, and I think that's also Joe that's gone.
And they have to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on our list. That some I forgot the journalist who released it, but he said there was a list of players like Reece, Ainsley, Joe.
The Hale End boys, essentially.
Bellerin. There was players on the list that we wanted to sell this summer.
Cola will be terminated. Like,
That's next year.
you know, and so look, there are some moves. I don't think we get it all done. It depends on your evaluation after that. I think we'll have to wait on that personally. But for example, I don't think Onana's dead. I never have. I've got no info on that. It's just I've been consistent in the whole window.
Well, the Leon fall through did give me some hope. So I still think that maybe I agree. I was with you on the fact that it was a case of you don't want to be paying the wages of someone you're not going to have available through
Makes no sense.
the whole of the window. It doesn't make any sense. So if it isn't a deal that goes through, I don't see it going through until the last couple of days of the window for sure.
The last day, like it's Kieran Tierney 2.0 for me. If it does happen, and I think it does, I really do. And by the way, I don't know about you, Z, but like halfway line defending now, Onana doesn't become a priority. Like,
if you see his heat map, that guy's never in his box.
I tweeted on my private account, and I was like, I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. The fact that Hector Bellerin's agent has been in the UK, there's no way he comes and meets Arsenal and he doesn't speak about his other client in Onana. There's no way.
That's what I'm saying, mate. Like, I don't even think it's because of Bellerin leaving. It's about Onana. And so, look, I'm gonna give a window.
Why not?
I'm going to give a window to people, okay? Look, everyone has their own opinion on the center mid, okay? I don't want to get into that. We've already been going long, but I just want to give a window to people, okay? Maddison, Basuma, Onana. Where does that get you?
Ben White.
Fourth.
Third.
Fourth for me. Fourth.
I'm definitely top 4, but I don't. Z, where are you at with that level of investment?
Yeah, I think a goalkeeper changes the entire outlay of how our team performs throughout the season. So definitely, I'd say we'd qualify for the Champions League if we get the goalkeeper and Maddison in.
And guys, by the way, you tell me if my logic is wrong, Z, but I feel we have marquee money plus £40 million. And the reason I get that is because I look at Locatelli, who got bid from Sassuolo. That was confirmed. Aaron Ramsdale's quoted price is what? £40 million? Like, the indirects that I'm getting is we have 40 plus a marquee money, but that 40 is Joe Willock plus Ainsley, right? 20 million each, roughly. And I think that's where the window is. I don't know if you think I'm off at all, but for me, for example, that gets you Onana and Basuma, 35 and 5.
So if we got that, where would you say we finished?
About 14th.
I think that gets us. I think that gets us top 4, 4th or 3rd. I think 4th or 3rd is a redundant argument. It's like a point or two, to be honest with you. At that, I think 1 and 2 are clear. 3rd and 4th and 5th are close, and then
I don't think it will be as clear as the past, though.
No.
Maybe 12.
Quickly though, before we go,
what
do you think of City Leicester today? Any predictions, or you just don't care? I don't think many people care about the community.
City.
I think 2-1.
It will be City. Yeah, City as well.
But Maddison is starting. Leicester fans are saying he's staying there.
Funny.
Yeah, but then their main player tomorrow isn't playing. So what now? Is he going on loan?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we should look too much into that.
Yeah.
No.
Cool. So I don't know, Curran,
I'm just looking forward
we've
to
been going long. Thank you guys for sticking with us.
Yeah. I mean, I thank you for sticking with us. I mean, it's hard following a bottom half team, but we are gonna keep moving with the content. I'm gonna be making. We've had some issues with Twitter again. Surprise, surprise. So I will be creating a new Twitter account to keep you updated with the content. Just really happy to. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm just really happy that we've got a lot of really good news for Chelsea, and I'm really happy about it. Really happy that the window is starting to move in their favour. To be honest, it's going to be a really good window so far. I think on that note, I think we'll
be
go,
here midweek doing our Premier League predictions.
Yeah. I mean, just gotta keep moving with the content, keep moving with the windows. So thank you all for joining, and I'll see you. Well, we will see you very, very soon. Bye bye now.